We're good.
Have we got everybody, Priyank?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here with us at Fanshawe College. I'm Wendy Curtis. I'm the Executive Director of International at the college. And you know what, this morning I'm here for two reasons. Really, the first one is because I want to see all of you. And secondly, what I want to say to each of you is, congratulations on a whole number of different fronts. First of all, on choosing Canada, thank you. On choosing Ontario, the province that we're in, of course, and then on choosing Fanshawe College, and on choosing to be here today. As a result of all those choices, what we know about you is you're super determined, and you will be part of those success stories, given what you'll learn today and what you'll learn throughout your studies in terms of how to have a super successful career and enjoy, eventually, we hope, life here in Canada, because we're super excited to welcome you here. And we're really excited that you've shown the determination and the persistence in what is a pretty tough environment to make a go of this. And there's no better place for you than with my good friend, Darlene O'Neill, who's going to introduce to you Fanshawe Works and all that can contribute to you. And frankly, what you can contribute to us as well. Thanks for being here. Darlene?
Thank you, Wendy. Hi, everybody. It's super exciting to be with you this morning. My name is Darlene O'Neill, and I'm the Director of Employment and Student Entrepreneurial Services at the college. And what we do at the college is we're everything about jobs, and that's why we're here today to help you prepare for your first job when you land in Canada, or if you're already in Canada, or once you graduate, or your co-op job. We've created a really dynamic, wonderful, information-filled program for you today. And just to let you know that we are the only college in Canada that does a program like this to prepare international students for jobs in Canada, even before they arrive or before they start school. So we want to make sure that here at Fanshawe, you've got your feet first and you're ready to go to get that dream job that you've been dreaming of. Our team today has a great lineup, including making connections and meeting people, which is a very important thing for you to do when you arrive in Canada, or virtually when you take your lessons from school and you participate in events and workshops and clubs. Canadian resume and cover letter is another workshop that we're going to cover today. And you'll find a few surprises in that workshop, because in Canada, resumes look quite different than they do around the globe. And then we're going to have an alumni panel. So international students that have graduated from Fanshawe College and that are employed in really super exciting, fun jobs. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about finding a job virtually, because that's the way we all live these days. What the Canadian labor market looks like. We have our Economic Development Corporation joining us, and Robert Collins is going to share some really interesting and exciting information about the economy here in London. Canadian workplace expectations, and then followed by probably the best employer panel we've had yet. So we've got some really super employers, big names, and you can Google them for tomorrow so you can ask them some questions. We've got StarTech, which is an international company here in London. We've got the Scotiabank. We've got Blue Mountain Resorts, Ellis Dawn, which is a major international construction company, and Precision Deliveries, who does most of the hiring for organizations like Walmart Canada. So really, really super employers, and I know they're going to have lots of great information to share with you. I heard a quote yesterday at something that I attended, and the quote was, "You have to keep one leg in the future and one leg in the present." And that's what I hope you do as you find your way through your programs here at Fanshawe. Don't look backwards. We're fighting our way through this horrible COVID, and I hope you all stay safe, but stay future focused. And remember that here at Fanshawe College, we're so excited that you're our Falcons and you've joined our Falcon family. And I hope you have a wonderful 2 days. And thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you. I'll turn it over now to the new workshop facilitators. I believe it's Ashley Nash and Larissa Campbell are doing your first workshop. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm just gonna get my screen shared here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, is that working? Can everybody see that? Perfect, thanks so much.
Okay, welcome everybody to the first workshop of Fanshawe Works. So as Darlene introduced us, my name is Ashley Nash and Larissa, who was just speaking there, Larissa Campbell. The two of us run Inspire Mentoring, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about our program, but most importantly about ways to go about making connections and meeting people now that you're a student at Fanshawe. We do have a handout that goes along with our presentation, and I'm not sure, Priyank, if that can be shared in the chat or if you'd like me to share that. There it is.
I've shared.
Great, thank you so much. So this is really just for your reference as we work through our material. If you'd like to take some notes, and there's some areas for you to really consider your thoughts and where you're at right now, so that when our presentation's over, you have some sort of idea of where you'd like to go moving forward, what your next steps might want to be. So we will sometimes make reference to it, but it's not very long. So if you just have it open, you'll know where we're going to be using it when we need to. Okay. So connection. When most people start college, what they're thinking about is, okay, how do I meet people? How do I start making connections, both personally and in preparation for their future career? Because, well, you want to have that social life and be able to have friends and that connection between peers socially. You also are probably thinking, okay, the point of me coming to college is to make these connections so that, and learn all of this material through my academics, so that when I'm done, I can get that job that I want to have. In Canada, making these types of connections is called networking. So we're going to use both of these words interchangeably, but really at the heart of networking is connection with others. And while you're not always going to refer to every interaction that you'll make with a friend as networking, you are building your network as a student with every connection that you make. And networking really is all about relationship building. So whether you're already in Canada or you've yet to arrive, this presentation will focus on networking, because you can start meeting people and making connections at any point while you're a student, whether you're a new student or if you are a few semesters in and you decide, okay, I really need to start meeting people to prepare for my search for my career once I graduate.
Okay, so based on that little intro that Ashley gave, why do you think networking is important? And so remember, networking is just making connections and meeting people. So we'd love to hear some of your thoughts. If you want to just type it into the chat, why do you think it's important to network? So to get more social, to widen your connections. Yeah. To get a job, references, work a lot in Canada for sure, open up to opportunities, to be more informed, yes, definitely. To be comfortable with surroundings, to learn different things from different people, great point. To become friends with, and how we can help each other, for sure. Oh my goodness, this is going so fast now. So exchange of knowledge, more opportunities, understanding the culture, to share emotions, elaborate our imagination. Wow. Start a business and to meet good people. Those are some really, really great ideas there. Awesome. You guys get it. Definitely. So networking is important for all of those, really all of those reasons that you put there. But one of the main reasons why we talk about networking from career services is that it's really the main way how Canadians find work. So how we find work in Canada is like 80+% through personal contact. And the reason for that is that employers much prefer to have kind of a personal reference, a personal recommendation to hire someone rather than just picking from, like a random 200 resumes that they get sent into them. So this is why this is really important. And it's why we put a lot of emphasis on this in our job search workshops here with career services. But one of the main things to remember is that it's not who or how many people you have in your network that makes the biggest impact. It's the meaningful career conversations that you have with those connections. So that's something that you really want to keep in mind. It's not just about collecting as many connections on LinkedIn or meeting as many people as you can, collecting all these email addresses. It's not really going to help if you just have a whole bunch of numbers of people. It's making those meaningful connections with them that's going to make the biggest impact in that career development of yours. So people remember you and you're not just a number in their big list of LinkedIn contacts.
And through meeting those people, whether it's personally or professional contacts, networking does open the door to several things. So the first thing we have here is the hidden job market. And I'm curious to know if anybody has heard about the hidden job market before. You can put it in the chat if you have. It's something that you will hear a lot about here in Canada, and meeting people and making those connections helps to give you access to the hidden job market. So we're hearing some people have heard of it, some people haven't. The jobs which are not yet open. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So when you meet people and you start making those connections and having those meaningful career conversations, once people know what it is that you're interested in doing, they're going to help you to learn about opportunities before they're even advertised. And so that's what we call the hidden job market. And someone said jobs that are not publicly listed on job boards or elsewhere. That's exactly it, Kush. So another thing that meeting people and networking with them does is it helps to give you personal contacts at companies so that those people might help get your resume through if there's an opportunity. And that's not to say that every single person that you network with is going to be able to do that for you. But if you've made that connection with someone and they know what you're looking for and you go to apply at their company, they might say, hey, you know what? No problem. I'll move your resume along. I'll make sure it gets to the right person. You can learn tips on the recruiting process for different companies that you might be interested in working for. And you can learn you can gain a deeper understanding of organizations and the industries that you'd like to work for or in, when you come to Canada. So when you meet with people, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in our presentation, you can have those conversations that help give you that insight, knowledge, and awareness of what goes on in that company and what it's like to work in that industry.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what a network is. So a network, you can kind of think of it as this bullseye picture that we have on the screen here. Your network is really all the people that you know and the people that you know who knows the people that you know, if that makes sense. So it starts in the middle there with you. You're the little dot in the middle, and then your network just works outwards here. You've got your family, your friends and neighbors, your coworkers, classmates, teachers, employers, community groups, and then really anyone and everyone could be part of your network. But it really just starts with the people that you feel comfortable with. And that's really the best place to start building your connections, is start with the people you already know and ask them for people that they know and build upon that layer by layer. So then the people you know become part of your network as well. And so you want to be thinking about talking to as many people as you can, meeting as many people as you can, because most people want to help others if they can. And it's really almost impossible to predict who might connect you to your next opportunity. You just never know where that might come up. So thinking about your network right now, you don't need to do this at this very moment, but in the handout that we sent you, there is a little space there where you can kind of take note of who is in your network already. So this is a good starting point for you to think about your network, thinking about, maybe your closest friends and family, people from the school that you already have met, and then just kind of build out from there. So make a little list there you can do this after the workshop or later today, make a little list of who you already know and who might be good people to kind of start expanding your network with. So starting with the people that you already know and then asking them about people who you might not know yet.
Okay, and so when you think about trying to meet some new people, maybe outside of your existing network, what ideas do you already have on places that you might look in order to find people to connect with? And the chat's already going. So we've got LinkedIn at the college, Facebook groups, more LinkedIn, social media, Instagram pages, social events, lots of LinkedIn, friends who you know who are already here. Yeah, that's a great example of an existing network and connection here in Canada. Let's see, in your classroom, yeah, at community centers, gatherings, virtual gatherings for now. Alumni, absolutely. And LinkedIn, someone asked, what is LinkedIn? We're going to talk very briefly about LinkedIn today, but it will be covered again. And LinkedIn is actually another really great place to connect with alumni from Fanshawe or possibly even your program. Events, common friends, conferences, yes, absolutely. The college website, yeah, if you're looking to speak with someone specifically, go on the college website. Seminars at your workplace. Yeah, even at a part-time job, you could be finding somebody to network with. Family who have been settled down here, mutual references, community from your nationality, people with the same interest areas, neighborhoods, community centers, supermarket. Okay, so you guys are fully prepared to talk to people wherever you might meet them, which is awesome.
I'll just jump in really quickly there. I noticed a question, what is alumni? So alumni are graduates from the college. So when we say alumni, that's kind of the group of people who have graduated from the college.
Okay, and so just in case you need some other places to look, even though we had a wonderful list there in the chat, here's some other examples of ways that you can reach out and meet people as a new student at Fanshawe. So through your classes, don't be afraid to speak up and try to connect with people there, even if it's virtually. Clubs, if there's teams. Now, some of that may be virtual right now, it might not. That'll be some little bit of research that you'll need to do. Any volunteer work that you do or volunteer opportunities are a great place to meet new people. At events, there are still lots of virtual events taking place. For example, this one right here. So do search out events that might be of interest to you. Different associations. So depending on the program that you're going into, there might be an association that is related specifically to that industry or field. Social media, we covered that. And specifically for certain programs or fields, connecting on social media will be even more important. Union, sector councils, mentorship programs, which we are going to talk about in a little bit, but those are just some examples of activities that you can do to meet new people. Okay, so then the rest of our presentation is going to focus on making connections and networking for career development purposes. And so here are some places that you can start making connections for your career. So we have the Career Services job site, which I'm sure you will be provided information for, but this is where we post all of the jobs that come in from employers for students at Fanshawe. The London Economic Development Corporation, and Darlene O'Neill mentioned that we're going to have a guest speaker from, we call it LEDC. So we're going to have a guest speaker from there. You can be looking on LinkedIn, and again, you will learn a little bit about that. Eventbrite, it is a website. You can go to it and search events that are happening in your geographic region, including London. Industry news outlets. So for example, Business London is a magazine that is published, and there is a digital version here in London, and it's really great to find out and learn about new businesses because they do feature and profile different businesses every month. Professional associations and sector councils, your professors and contacts that you make through Fanshawe, absolutely. Different directories. And you can just Google whether there are directories for your different industries, and then on social media.
Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, that's great. There's a tons of places that we can kind of meet people and start to network, but how do I even do it? So really, you're going to just be talking to people. That's what networking is. So meet and talk to people anytime, anywhere. It really is about exchanging information and developing relationships with the people that you're talking to. You want to go about it by, introducing yourself and asking questions and really showing that you're eager to learn from the person that you are connecting with. And though, if you're networking for career development to eventually get a job or to learn more about your industry, think about the fact that even though you might be talking to people who might not have job opportunities or availabilities for you, they may still know, or they might be able to introduce you to other people or other opportunities. And that's really how networking works. It's kind of the opportunities and the connections build upon each other. So as Ashley kind of mentioned already, one of the best places to start is here within the Fanshawe community. This is a great place to connect with people. You're already connected to many of us. And Fanshawe is a pretty big place. There's a lot of people to meet and to get to know. So attending events such as this one and all the other ones that are offered throughout the school is a great place to get to know people. If you're not really sure what you should say when you go to try and connect with someone or network with someone, there is a section in your handout that can help you get started with that. So you can kind of adjust that template that's in your handout for whatever the purpose of your networking encounter is. So we're going to move into some different methods for networking. So the previous slide kind of explained generally what networking is about, but there are some techniques and some kind of methods that we typically suggest that kind of make networking a little bit easier because there's a purpose, a little more clear of a purpose. And these are informational interviews using LinkedIn, events, and then mentoring. So we're going to go into each one of these in a little bit more detail. So the first one is informational interviews. And what an informational interview is an interview with someone who works in the industry or a company or a job that you're interested in, something that you either want to learn more about, or maybe that's the job that you want to go into one day. This is how you can get to know these people, is by doing informational interviews and build your network. The purpose of these interviews is to collect information, obtain advice, and learn about that particular person's career path. You might be able to get referrals from that person as well. But keep in mind that you are not asking for a job in an informational interview. It's about collecting information, and it isn't a job interview. So just keep that in mind. This is a really, lots of people in Canada are used to doing these informational interviews, and it might only take, 10 or 15 minutes. It might be a quick phone call. It might be a virtual chat. It might even just be some questions that you exchange over email. So it's a pretty easy way to kind of learn about an industry and get to know people. So there's a little bit more information in your handout. in terms of the steps that you can take to set up and conduct an informational interview. So you can review that on your own. But we will just brainstorm a little bit here with our next slide about, what might you ask when you go to an informational interview? So I'd like you to think for a minute, if you were going to be able to have an informational interview with someone who is already working in your dream job and they're at your dream company, what kinds of questions would you want to ask them? And so let's get some ideas generating here in the chat. So just, what do you think? What would you like to ask that person? Just pop that in the chat there and then we'll share a few of them. What is it like to work there? What type of job role you want to know? How's the environment? Oh, this is moving so fast, it's hard to do this. What's the environment within a company? That's a great one. Somebody asking about their job duties, the required skills, for sure. What kinds of skills you need to start a job? How do you go about applying for a similar job? Definitely. How you got started in your career? How's the growth of the company? The culture of the organization, what it's like day to day in the office. These are all really great questions. Describe a typical day, how you got to that particular job, for sure. What kind of research did you do ahead of time? Definitely. Let's see if there's any other I'm missing here. Growth of the company, if there's insurance, how to apply. Required skills. Yes, so these are really great examples here. What's the pay scales like? Growth opportunities. Yes, opportunities for advancement within the company. What kinds of software you might need to know. The organizational structure and work ethic. Excellent. Where you see yourself in 5 years. That's a great question as well. Expectations from the employer. That's a really great way to learn about what particular employers are expecting from their employees, is by asking someone, for sure. How demanding is the job? Let's see. The pathways to get there, for sure. Pay scale. What's the market like? Is it saturated or not? For sure. Criteria for getting hired. These are really great questions. So that's exactly it. You've already got like a huge list of questions that you can use. So in your handout, just make note of 3 examples of questions that you could ask in an informational interview with someone who's unique to your situation. So someone who you would like to talk to about your particular career path or industry, something along that line. So I'll just give you a second to make note of those questions. You can use some of the ones in the chat here, or if you need more ideas, if you just Google questions for informational interviews, there's like so many examples out there that you could ask lots of different things. The main thing to keep in mind with informational interviews, though, is you want to be respectful of the person's time that you are meeting with, and you want to put the focus on what you can learn from them. And it's not about getting a job, but it is okay to ask them about what the hiring process might be like, what the application process might be like, what kinds of things the company looks for. And it definitely doesn't hurt to find out about, like, do they see, might there be future opportunities at a company like that? And I'm just noticing one here too, work-life balance. That's a great one to ask about too. What is it going to be like in comparison to your life? All right. So just make sure you have at least 3 examples written down so that you are already prepared and ready for your first informational interview.
Wow, that was an excellent list of informational interview questions. And I am really hoping that maybe we can get a copy of that chat after this is done so that we can add some of those examples to our future presentations. One of the questions in the chat that I noticed as well said, where can I head forward from my current position? And I think that this is a really great example of someone who might be doing a lot of the work of networking and making those connections to help propel themselves forward into the career that they eventually want to have. And that is something that you can also do on LinkedIn. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn for current networking as well. You do also want to think about where you'd like to go in the future and how the connections that you're making right now might be able to help you get there. Because sometimes when we graduate, we don't go into maybe the exact job that we want to have because we need a little bit of experience, or we need to make some of those connections to help get us into those companies that we'd like to work for. And so on LinkedIn, for example, you can connect with professionals and companies in your field from anywhere around the world. And you can start doing some of that work right now to help build those connections for paths that you might want to take in the future as well. So lots of people think about LinkedIn as another social media platform, but it is a powerful search engine. I do believe they're going to talk about LinkedIn again in another workshop. And we do offer in Career Services a workshop specific to building a LinkedIn profile that Larissa and I would absolutely encourage you to attend. Everyone at Fanshawe should have a LinkedIn presence. Lots of hiring takes place on LinkedIn, and there are certain things that you do want to put into your profile to ensure that you have a strong profile, so that when your connections are learning about you through your profile, and those potential future employers are looking at your profile as well, you are putting your best version of yourself out there. Okay. LinkedIn does highlight your skills and accomplishments, as well as your experience and your education. And so while you can search for connections in your field, you can also search for employers. So companies have pages on there as well. So it's not just individuals. There really is a lot of really valuable information that LinkedIn does offer. And you can actually also access LinkedIn for students. So if you just Google LinkedIn for students, there is so much information. They provide lots of tips on how to use LinkedIn effectively. And so in addition to attending the Career Services workshop, we highly recommend that you do Google that and check that out as well. I know that I'm guessing at some point you'll be told on how to access those Career Services workshops, but once you get access to your Fanshawe online page, you will have access to the Career Services events page as well. Okay, the next method for networking that we're going to discuss is attending events virtually for now. We do hope that very soon we will be able to offer things in person again, but obviously that's just not possible. Career Services does run events throughout the year. We have our Ignite Career Conference, which will run in early November, and we hope to see every single one of you there. It is such an amazing event, and there's lots of information, really valuable information that you can take forward with you as you start to prepare for your graduate job search. You can look on Eventbrite. So I mentioned this earlier. If you've never heard of Eventbrite, just Google it. You can put in the city or the geographic region that you want to search for events in, and you can see what's happening. There will be virtual events happening in London that you can likely attend from anywhere in the world, as long as you're willing to deal with the time change. But go on there. Sometimes Eventbrite has events posted that are just in different areas of interest. So it might not always be related to what your program is or your future career, but it might be another great way to meet people. Facebook often has events posted. The London Chamber of Commerce, if you want to Google that, you can take a look there. Clubs, community groups. Community groups was actually mentioned a lot in the chat, and that was really great to see. There are so many different community groups that exist in London. It is a very inclusive place to live. So if you're looking for a community group, just try Googling some different words related to the type of group that you're looking for, and I'm sure that you'll find something. LinkedIn, there's often events posted on LinkedIn for people. So you could probably even search that in the search field on LinkedIn and see what comes up. Meetup.com, again, Google it if you've never been to that website before, but there are lots of meetups that happen probably most likely all virtual right now, but it is based a lot on just your areas of interest. So another great way to meet people, and then londonprofessionals.ca. So some good places for you to start thinking about attending events. And really remember, when you're going to an event, you're going to meet people, you're going to make connections.
Okay, and so moving to the kind of last of the 4 methods of networking is mentoring. So did you know that mentoring is a form of networking? And the reason why we get to talk about this is because Ashley and I run the Inspire Mentoring program here at the college. And so mentoring is kind of our thing, and we really strongly believe that it is an excellent way to begin networking. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail about what mentoring is and how that can help you in your career development. So let's just get some ideas in the chat here. What do you think is mentoring? What is mentoring? Have you heard that term before? What does it mean to you? So please enter your ideas in the chat. Got guidance, yes, a lot of guiding. Supervising, training, motivation, coaching, teacher, leader. Excellent. Helping, teaching, advice, feedback, support, showing their path, passing out knowledge, anyone who can guide us, sharing perspective, coaching. Excellent. Transmission of knowledge, for sure. Inspiration. Excellent. Yes, these are all like really great descriptions of what mentoring is. Counseling, can we get a personal mentor? Sometimes, yes, for sure. Relationship between 2 individuals. Excellent. Yes. Awesome. Great ideas in there. And so for our purposes, how we define mentoring for Inspire Mentoring is that mentoring is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning in order that they may maximize their potential, develop their skills, and improve their performance, and ultimately become the person that they want to be. And so really, mentoring can include all of those things that you all suggested in the chat here. And it might just depend on what type of mentoring relationship you have for what that is about. Okay.
Okay, so before we get into the details of our program, we'd like to ask you, who has been an influential person in your life and how have they made an impact? Okay, so take a moment, think about that. If you'd like to share, feel free to put your answer to that in the chat. You don't have to share, but we'd love to hear from you who has really been influential in your life. So we have family, Elon Musk. Okay. Your mom, a team lead, husband, grandpa, Kobe Bryant, nurse, father, uncle, brother. I've motivated my own self. That's great. Another Elon Musk for business ideas. Let's see. Oh, it's moving really quickly here. My goodness. Books. Yeah, that's an excellent example. Your boss, a wife, your dad showed how hard work pays off. Mom inspires you to be the best version of yourself. That's great. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, it goes so fast. Churchill, Buddha, friends, marketing teacher, manager at work, Steve Jobs. So it's really interesting. There are just so many comments that I would love to read them all out, but it is really great to see that we really have a mixture here of family members, friends, but also influential people, maybe in your community or in the media. It really can be anybody. Yeah, and it's still going. So essentially, this person has been a mentor for you and is also part of your existing network. They may not even realize that they have been a mentor for you, because mentorship doesn't always take place within a formalized setting. So will you be my mentor? Yes, I will. And then you start engaging. Someone that you go to for support or guidance and all of those words that you guys use to describe what mentorship is, those people offer that to you without you having to say, will you be my mentor? And so we're going to talk about different ways to engage in mentorship and what the value of mentorship is along your career development path.
Just before I move to the next slide, I see there's some questions here about if the slides will be available for students. Priyank, I believe they will have access to that. Is that correct?
That's correct. After the entire workshop, everyone will receive all the slides along with the handouts and as well as recording of this entire workshop.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So just to kind of review a little bit here about why having a mentor might be a benefit. So these are some of the reasons that you might want to mentor as a student or really at any level of your career. You can receive advice, encouragement, and support from your mentor. You can develop professional communication skills and confidence, and that confidence is in your skills and ability to talk about yourself and your experiences for career development purposes. So just by engaging with a mentor, that allows you to kind of practice those skills when communicating and how you can talk about yourself to promote yourself when you're searching for work or career advancement. You can gain industry knowledge and exposure to the real world applications of the learning from your program. And so this is one of the reasons why students are often really interested in having a mentor in their industry is they can see firsthand how what they're learning in school plays out in the real world. And it can be really helpful to talk to somebody who's further along in their career path than where you are, just to see kind of what they've done, learn from what their experiences were. You get to connect with a network of industry professionals because once you connect with your mentor has a whole network of people that you might be able to connect with as well, and they might be able to introduce you to other industry professionals. You can gain insight into the qualities and experiences that specific businesses value and what we call organizational fit. So sometimes you can really only learn about that from knowing someone on the inside of a company. And this is a great way to kind of learn about what that fit is. What do those businesses really value and look for in their employees? And then access to the hidden job market, as Ashley mentioned earlier. Again, your mentor might learn of opportunities well before anything is ever advertised, and it may, keep you in mind for positions, or might be able to recommend to you of different ways that you can search for opportunities when it's that point in your path.
Okay, so now we're going to start to review what Inspire Mentoring does offer you at Fanshawe. But before we do, just to give you an idea of the purpose of Inspire Mentoring. So Inspire Mentoring guides students in building those meaningful connections and learning how to engage in mentorship throughout their career. And so the different options and of ways that you can be involved in mentorship that we're going to talk about all have that same focus. So to help you learn how to build those meaningful connections, and that mentorship really can be a part of your career development at any stage in your career. So the first option that you have for getting involved with Inspire, and actually we usually get this question, what is your website at some point? So I just put our website into the chat there. Let me make sure I spelled that right. Yes. Okay, so peer mentorship is an option where you as a new student can be matched with an upper year student in a career-focused mentoring relationship. So our peer mentors are, like it says, upper year students who are well on their path in their own career development and are interested in connecting with you to ensure that you feel as successful as they do, and to provide guidance and support to you as you sort of figure out or navigate where it is you might like to go. If you join peer mentorship, you would create personal career development goals, and we do provide the tools for you to do that and teach you how to do that. You can ask questions and receive guidance from your mentor. So it can be really helpful to have somebody to go to say, you know, I'm working on this right now, or I'm preparing for, you know, I'm thinking ahead to my graduate job search and the job I might like to have. And I have some questions. Would you be willing to answer those for me? And that really is the purpose of your peer mentor. When you go to meet with your peer mentor, some things that peer mentors work with their peer mentees on are how to connect with people in your field of study or your industry, resources and services available through employment and student entrepreneurial services. So that's the department that career services is part of. So all of us presenting to you today are part of employment and student entrepreneurial services. You can ask your peer mentor questions about different student services that Fanshawe offers and ways to get involved with the college, because lots of our peer mentors are connected to the college in many different ways. Anything about college life, and really anything about your Fanshawe experience. So our peer mentors are so happy to be at Fanshawe. They have worked really hard in their programs and in their academics. They're strong students, and they really just want to see you succeed. And lastly, the length of the mentoring relationship is determined by you. And this is really important because some people think, well, you know, I don't really want to commit to something for an entire term, or, you know, I am looking for someone to connect with for an entire term. So however long it takes for you to start making progress on the goals that you set for yourself is how long you need to be engaged in peer mentorship. So we have some students who are connected with their peer mentor for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, or maybe 2 months or a whole term. We do have some students who are connected to their peer mentor for multiple terms. If you, have developed a really great relationship and you want to keep that going across another term, and your peer mentor is a returning student, then we have had students connect for up to 8 months. So that part's really determined by you. And you can go on our website if this is of interest to you and fill out a registration form, and then we will reach out to you. And then we have peer chats. So peer chats are group conversations about different career development topics, and they're hosted by our peer mentors. So peer chats are one of Larissa and I's favorite things about Inspire, because so much connection happens in these peer chats, and you get a chance to meet and speak with and ask questions to students from all different programs all across the college. So topics change weekly, and they are determined for the most part by the peer mentors, dependent upon the areas of experience that they have. Sometimes it can be if a peer mentor is in a specific program and is nearing their end of their program, and they want to share some information that they learned, it might be, relevant to a program specifically. But for the most part, they are topics that can be applied to any student at Fanshawe. So for example, some of the topics that we had this year: how to connect virtually with services on campus, tips for connecting with your industry as a student. And then we had some peer mentors talk about different methods that they use for virtual interviews. So there's lots of different ways that you can learn information from your peer mentors, and peer chats is one of them. You don't have to be registered in peer mentorship to attend a peer chat. So you can register through the Career Services events page, which, as I mentioned before, once you have access to your Fanshawe online page, which we call FOL, then you will be able to register for Career Services events by going to Resources and then Career Co-op CCR. So once you click on those, you'll be taken across to the events page. Right now, we have put a hold on peer chats until September, just because we don't have the peer mentors available, unfortunately, during the summer months to host them. But they will start up again in September, and they do run weekly. So even if you'd like to be on our list to be notified of when that's going to start again, you can either send us an email or you can register on our website.
Okay, and so we have the peer side, the peer mentorship side of Inspire, and then we also have industry mentorship options that are part of Inspire. And so I've listed 2 of them here. So the purpose of the industry mentorship is for students to engage with industry professionals to work towards their personal and professional goals. And there's 2 different options here. We've got the Larry Mini Industry Mentorship pillar, and then Build Your Own Experience. The Larry Mini Industry Mentorship pillar is where students must be in their final year at Fanshawe. And then those students would submit an application form and potentially can be matched with an industry professional. And it really just depends on who we have available and how many people apply. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this pillar right now, since you are all brand new students. Most likely you won't be eligible for this one quite yet. But next year, if you're around and that it's your last year at Fanshawe, definitely consider this option. The applications for this pillar open up in September of every year, and matches take place kind of September, October, and they last until April. So if you want to learn more about this option, you can definitely check out our website. All the details are there, and keep it in mind for when you're in your final year at Fanshawe. The Build Your Own Experience pillar, though, this is something that anybody can get involved in at any point in their time at Fanshawe. And this is a different way of being involved in industry mentorship. So Build Your Own Experience is independent mentorship experience that's designed by you. So this is a great option for anyone who kind of wants to create their own path in terms of their mentorship. You can participate in any level of your program, doesn't matter where you are. What you'll do is identify and initiate contact with industry professionals. So this is a good option for people, maybe you want to learn about the different pathways that are in your industry. And instead of having just one mentor for the whole year, you would like to have maybe 5 informational interviews with mentors from different areas within your industry. So that's just one example of what BYOE could be. When you register for BYOE on our website, you will receive the BYOE workbook, which will guide you in creating those career development goals and how you can start your search for mentors. So really, we give you the process to go through for building that mentorship experience on your own. Some of the things that might be included in your mentorship experience under BYOE could be informational interviews, as I said. It could be video chats or phone conversations with mentors. Could be email conversations. It could be attending industry or networking events where you're learning from industry professionals. Could be short job shadows, either virtual or one day in person, hopefully. Or really anything else that you do where you are learning from industry professionals and you are gaining knowledge that's going to help you work towards those career development goals that you've set for yourself. And of course, Ashley and I are here if you have any questions or you want some feedback or you want to discuss your process for BYOE. So if that's something that is of interest to you, once you've kind of figured out what your school schedule is going to be like and how your classes are going to be, and you feel that you have the time to work towards something like this, definitely go ahead and apply on our website, and we will get connected with you and send you the workbook. So now that we've kind of given a bit of an overview in terms of how mentorship can be really helpful in networking, what do you think? How will you use mentorship to grow your network and bring you closer to achieving your goals? So just take a minute to think about that, reflect on this from what you've learned, and feel free to share your thoughts in the chat of how you can see mentorship helping you in your career. Does anybody have any thoughts about mentorship? I'll just give it another few seconds. Okay, Natasha, my mentor could be someone who has a career path established already. Oh, I lost it here. Where did it go? So that it could really open up opportunities, definitely. By acquiring skills that our mentor has taught us and be determined about learning. Definitely, it's all about learning. Finding the right mentor, I know from my industry, might be able to start from LinkedIn and then having those conversations. Yes, For sure, LinkedIn is a great place to get started, to get more ideas. Learning about the industry before actually entering it, for sure. Filling any gaps regarding skills, experience, and soft skills. Building connections with mentor colleagues. Yes, excellent. Improving skills, experienced advice, guiding in the right direction, learning from others' experiences. Excellent, for sure. So you get it. You understand it can be really, really valuable. And it is, mentoring is really taking networking to a little bit more of a deeper level. It's getting to know someone a little bit more to help you along the way. So we hope that you consider mentoring as an option for you as you're moving forward in your career and your time at Fanshawe.
Okay, sorry, I was busy there just reading all these comments in the chat. This is wonderful. We love to have this type of conversation and discussion so that we can learn and grow from each other and the ideas that we have. Okay, so what is next? We hope that you will review the handout from today and decide what you think would be helpful for you to do next. So each person's going to have their own ideas of what would be helpful for them in starting to meet people and make those connections, and in using mentorship opportunities to help you in your networking and to have those meaningful career conversations. Attend career services workshops to further expand your networking skills. So absolutely attend the LinkedIn workshop, attend the networking workshop to go deeper into some of the information that you're going to learn today. These workshops are absolutely amazing. Obviously, I'm biased because I work in career services, but they are there for you. They're there for you to learn from, and also lots of opportunities for you to network within the workshop. So that's really great too. I did put our website into the chat, but there it is again, the third point there. So visit www.fanshawec.ca/inspire to learn more about Inspire and how you can get involved. There are a lot of details on our website so that students can go on and they can read everything about the different options and ways to get involved before committing. If you do have any questions at all, you can email our inbox. So inspirementoring@fanshawec.ca. There it is on the bottom of that slide. And it will be Larissa or I responding to your email. So know that if you do reach out, we have somewhat met you today, although virtually, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you have and help you to figure out what might be the best option for you. And sometimes people do email us and say, what do you think would be best way for me to get involved? And so the first thing that we'll say is, did you check out our website? Because we did spend a lot of time putting a lot of information on there, but we love hearing from students. So don't ever feel like you can't reach out and connect with us there. And if you are interested in that workbook, that guidebook that Larissa was talking about with the Build Your Own Experience, do feel free to register and we will email that to you so that you can sort of see what it would be like to get started in meeting those informal mentors and having those conversations and making those connections. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. We would like to open up the conversation to any questions that you might have for us about Inspire or any of the content that we talked about in our workshop today. So feel free to put your question into the chat and we will do our best to answer.
I'm just going to say a quick thank you for all of your participation. I have to jump off and get my daughter logged into her class, but we really appreciate all of the participation. It really helps to get our point across when you participate like this. So thank you so much. And I hope to connect with you again as you're moving forward.
Thanks, Larissa. So I see somebody had their hand raised, but it went away. So if you just want to put your question into the chat, I can answer it there. Ashley, do we need to wait for September for the Build Your Own Experience pillar? No, you do not. So you can register for that right away and I will reach out to you via email with the workbook and you can get started on that whenever. it's actually a really great way to just start thinking about how you might engage in mentorship to even just prepare to meet some of the goals that you might have. There's a lot of content in the workbook, including some information about informational interviews and what to say and how to reach out. So no, you don't need to wait till September. How can I join a peer chat? Great question. So peer chats will be listed on our events page. They will start again in September and they will run weekly. If you want to be put on our list to be notified when they're going to start again, feel free to send us an email and I'm happy to reach out to you when those start again. How to register for the Build Your Own Experience option. So go to our website, fanshawe.ca/inspire and click Build Your Own Experience. And then on there, there's a link that will take you to the registration form. You to put in a little bit of information. It probably takes a total of about 2 minutes to register for that, and then you'll receive the workbook. So I have a private message here. What is BYOE? So that's a great question. BYOE is Build Your Own Experience. And we use so many acronyms at Fanshawe. So don't ever hesitate to ask us, what does that mean? Because we usually go over them so fast and there's so much information being thrown at you. So thank you for asking. There's a question there from Taryn that will be for international. So we'll skip over that one. Let's see. Just want to ask, I heard now it's hard to find a job in London during this COVID pandemic. Well, I will tell you that just being at Fanshawe Works is going to put you ahead of a lot of other job seekers. And I see Darlene nodding her head there, smiling. That is actually the whole reason why we do this series of workshops, is to help prepare you in the best way that we can to look for a job. So if you attend all of the workshops, you take in the information, you apply it, then you're doing everything that you can, okay? And you do have a career services consultant that you can reach out to if you're finding it difficult to find a position. But start with attending the workshops, making a great resume, and then go from there. Okay, where can I find a recording of this session? I joined late. So Priyank did mention that the recordings and the handout and everything else will be available to you. And I think he said an email will go out with the links to it. So correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct, Ashley. Email will go out with all the presentation, as well as the handouts, as well as the recording of this entire workshop after 2 days. So we have another day coming up tomorrow. So after the entire Fanshawe Works workshop, everyone who registered for this will receive an email with all the links in it, including the survey that we will discuss tomorrow, which has good prizes to win for.
Prizes, that sounds pretty amazing. Thank you, Priyank. They really do have everything covered for you. Okay, I have another private message. I'm going to let International also talk about if there are any official WhatsApp groups, because I'm not sure about that.
We do not.
They do not. Okay. So there may be some groups out there, but they are not official to Fanshawe. Some more questions about courses. So I can't answer those, but I'm sure if you connect with International, they would be able to assist you with that. Another question about what is BYOE. So it is the Build Your Own Experience. We just shorten it to BYOE, so it's not a mouthful every time. How to get the workbook. So if you're referring to the Build Your Own Experience workbook, if you go onto our website, fanshawe.ca/inspire, you can register for the Build Your Own Experience option, and you will receive an email with a link to the workbook. You download the workbook and it's yours to keep forever. So you can use it as much as you'd like as you move through your program. And then even once you graduate and you are in your career and you're looking to start networking and engaging in mentorship to help move you forward in your career, you'll always have that access. Another direct message, how to register for peer mentorship. So again, right on our website, you can register and we will reach out. Lots of people I see on here looking to connect with people from either their geographic region in which they live or possibly what their home country is, and then courses at Fanshawe. This is so amazing to see. This is what we're talking about when we talk about reach out, make those connections, put yourself out there. And once you start your classes, you'll probably find that you put those questions out there and you will be able to make those connections. Priyank, has anybody talked about or given information about Fanshawe Friends yet?
I'm not sure. Maybe Caitlin might have covered it in Fanshawe Cares session that we had for last 2 weeks.
Okay. So that's another great way to meet people as well.
I'm just going to jump in. I got a couple of direct messages as well about finding jobs relating to your courses, and whether you have, if you don't have any experience, or you're wanting to learn more about what job availabilities are out there relating to your field. That is all something that you can connect with your career services consultant to learn more about, in addition to attending our workshops. So all of the workshops that, again, kind of teach you how to learn about what opportunities are out there in your field, how to prepare for jobs if you don't have any experience, or how to write about it on your resume. So all of those kinds of questions that you have, I would strongly recommend you connecting either by attending our workshops or connecting with the career services consultant for your program. And they will be able to talk to you about your own unique situation. But the workshops are a great place to start. And I'm just seeing lots of people looking for, part-time jobs on campus. There are not really many available for that. So again, connect with your career services consultant. How COVID-19 affects job opportunities here. Again, it varies by industry. It really depends on what the industry is. And a lot of that stuff we can't necessarily predict. So again, connect with your career services consultant who might be a little bit more aware of what's happening within your particular program field.
A question here about how to get involved with clubs. So if you go to our Fanshawe website and you look up the Fanshawe Student Union, there'll be lots of information there about clubs available to students. So much networking going on in this chat right now. This is amazing. So if you are putting yourself out there and saying, hey, anybody in this program or taking classes at this campus, I hope that you are going through and looking at these, because lots of people are responding to one another and saying, hey, I'm in Simcoe as well. I've seen a few people, so make sure that you're looking through that to see if people are responding to the ask that you're putting out there. There's so many wonderful questions. I'm trying not to skip any, and it says I still have 99 new messages here. Lots of questions for international.
I will add in too, for those of you who have questions about job searching in Canada, you will be learning more at the other workshops that are part of Fanshawe Works. When you learn about writing a resume and you learn about how to look for a job virtually. So you may get some of your questions answered at those sessions as well.
One question here for Inspire. Can I start with the mentoring program even if I have a September intake? So you can also join in September. That's completely fine. If you have a Fanshawe online email address already, we're happy to send you the Build Your Own Experience workbook. There's no issues with that. But everything that we offer will run in September as well. So don't feel like, oh no, if I don't join now, I'm going to miss out on something. Absolutely not. Everything will be available to you in September. A few direct messages about resumes again. So you're going to have a resume seminar or workshop, that is coming up. But yes, we do help students make resumes. We have resume workshops, as Larissa mentioned.
Actually, I just wanted to add one thing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
go ahead.
Everyone talking in the chat and mentioning all the programs and where they're joining us from. That is great. Definitely do that and connect with each other. I would just advise not to share personal phone numbers in the chat, because again, this is not a private chat between two people. Everyone is watching it. So please do not share any private information. Unfortunately, if you do afterwards, we might have to remove you. So please do discuss all the programs you are from, where you are from, and find out other information in the chat here, but do not share any private information.
Somebody asked, I still don't have a Canadian phone number. Can I use my local number to register on the Inspire form? Absolutely. We don't really use your phone number unless there's some sort of emergency where we have to get in contact with you very quickly. And that hasn't happened before. So that's just on there sort of as a safeguard. So absolutely you can put whatever phone number you have in there and then update it later.
We do have a couple of raised hands here.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So Natick, you have a question? Oh, maybe not. Sunil, you have a question? Maybe those are accidental raised hands. Sunil, do you have a question there? Okay. Oh, there all these questions here. Okay, Shub, do you have a question?
If you want to try, I can unmute one by one. Larissa.
Sure. Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm going to unmute Shub. If you want to ask a question, I'm going to unmute you in a second.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about industry mentorship. Is it like if we have opted for co-op course, then only we can opt it, or anyone can opt it?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about industry mentorship. Like, is it for the people who have opted for co-op, or is it for anyone who is doing course at Fanshawe?
Oh, okay. Yes. So industry mentorship as part of Inspire Mentoring is completely separate from co-op. So co-op is one thing. If you're in a co-op program, you'll go through the co-op classes and do kind of your co-op work term search. But Inspire Mentoring is available to anyone at the college. The industry pillars, the two options that we have, so either the Larry Mini Industry Mentorship, which is available to students in their final year at Fanshawe. So you have to be in your last year. Anyone is eligible to apply, and it's just going to depend on what mentors we have available, and we can't guarantee matches, but we'll do the best that we can. So that's available to students in their final year. And then the Build Your Own Experience Industry Mentorship is available to anyone in any level, in any program. You can register to receive that workbook.
Okay, thank you so much.
Priyank, do you want to just unmute the next person? Maybe, I don't know, let's see who is waiting next.
Yes, I tried.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, can I do like the certification course except the course which I'm applying?
Pardon me, could you repeat your question?
Yeah. Basically, can I apply for more certification course like that will give me more credits, accept my course which I'm applying?
Yeah, so if you have questions specific to your courses, I would reach out to International or the context that you have, because Larissa and I aren't able to answer questions about courses. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Darlene just wrote in the chat, you can also ask your program coordinator about courses. Absolutely. So if you're talking about courses related to your the course that you're already taking, absolutely.
Hi, Shimona this side. I just wanted to ask, how will we get a job, a co-op related job? Like I have applied for a business analysis program with co-op.
Yeah. So
how will I get the co-op job? That's the question.
So when you start your program, you'll find out when you'll be taking what's called Co-op 1020, and that is the co-op preparation course. So in Co-op 1020, they will guide you through the whole process of applying for co-ops and how to find co-op jobs and everything that you need to do in preparation for your co-op. That will be a whole course that you have.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And you will have a specific co-op consultant for your program that you can ask specific questions related to your personal situation and your program and field specifically.
Okay, so I have that question, like I was looking for the answer of like the schedule of my classes. I have to inform my current employer here in India to manage like the time workload, but like after a lot of follow-ups and like even they gave me some like contacts, I was not able to get in touch. Like they were not reachable from emails or the contacts. So how we can know like what's the time schedule and the timetable for our course or the classes will be?
Priyank, do you have information about when timetables will be available?
Unfortunately, I don't, but definitely somebody on the email address international@fanshawe.ca will have it. So anyone, I would request to all of you who has questions regarding your program, schedule, tuition, scholarships, anything at all that is not related to job search or networking mentorship stuff, please email us at international@fanshawe.ca. Again, you might not receive the response right away for the reason being there are a lot of inquiries and questions coming in right now, but definitely you will. So do send us an email and we will be happy to help. Thank you.
And you can also check on the orientation website, and I'd highly recommend attending your program orientation. So if you go to fanshawe.ca/orientation, you will see when your orientation for your program is scheduled. They start next week, I believe.
And I'm just going to put into the chat here to register for any of the options with Inspire Mentoring. You can go to our website. I'm getting a lot of direct messages for that. So to register for any of the options with Inspire Mentoring, you go to our website and you can just fill out the registration form. So once you get to the website, there'll be all the different options of the ways that you can get involved listed. And if you click on that, there will be a click here to register. So I'll just put our website here in the chat and you can use that link to register for any of the options with Inspire. Okay.
Anuradha, you can go ahead.
Okay, sir. I just want to ask that I have applied for a course in supply chain management, which is 1-year course. I just wanted to ask that how can I apply for industry mentorship and when can I apply for that?
Great question. So if you are in an 8-month program or a 1-year program, then you would be eligible this September to apply for industry mentorship. And as Larissa mentioned, it's not guaranteed because it is dependent upon the number of mentors that we have available, but we do operate on a first come, first serve basis. So the earlier that you put your application in, if we have a mentor for you in your industry or your program, you'll be higher in the list to receive that mentor. So set some sort of reminder for yourself in your phone, in your calendar, somewhere to check back on our website at the beginning of September, because that application will open up and you can apply there. Put in as much information as possible. The more information that you give us about what your career goals are, what you're looking to gain from industry mentorship, the easier it is for us to determine whether we have a mentor to match you with. Hopefully that helps.
All right, I think we can take one more question. We are almost at the end of the session. I'm going to unmute Nandna Abraham.
Okay.
My doubt is that I get a job related to the course which I'm doing for sure. Would I get a job related to that, like part-time job?
I'm sorry, you were cutting out. Could you repeat that one more time?
My question is that, would I get a job related to the course I'm doing? I'm doing social work. Would I get a part-time job related to my course?
So what I would suggest for you to do is to reach out to your career services consultant, because there are lots of jobs available in the London area, and it will depend on things specific to you specifically, and your personal situation on whether or not you'll be able to get a part-time job in that. But meeting with your career services consultant would be the best first step for you, because then she can talk to you about your personal situation and experience and things like that to help you to determine whether or not you can already get a part-time job within your field.
I would like to ask one more question. Many students told me using Fanshawe Assist app would be nice, but when I tried to create an account, it showed me invalid. So what should I do?
Priyank, is that a question that you're able to answer?
I think you can reach out to IT desk, and if that also doesn't work out, definitely international@fanshawe.ca would be the one-stop shop for any questions that relates to your program or something relates to coming to the college and that you can't access, and we'll be happy to assist. Thanks, Nandna. And I'm afraid I think we are at the end of the session time. We have another session coming up. So Ashley, if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everybody for showing up and sharing your questions and your insight and your personal experience with mentorship in the chat, connecting with each other and putting yourselves out there. It's so great to see. For anybody who has their hand up that we weren't able to allow you to ask a question live, if your question is related to mentorship or networking, please do feel free to send us an email to our inspirementoring@fanshawe.ca email address, and Larissa and I would be happy to answer that question for you. We hope to see many of you within our program, the different options within our program, and at our peer chats again, so that we can not just see you as a name in our chat, but actually meet face-to-face, virtual face-to-face. So thank you everybody for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. So I just wanted to let everyone know once again, as Ashley and Larissa mentioned, thanks for joining us. The next session is for tools for Canadian job search, when we will talk about resume and cover letter that can help you find the jobs in Canada, which will start at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So after 10 minutes, so it's a 10-minute break time. And I would suggest, here's an idea. I saw a lot of people chatting with each other, sending WhatsApp group links and all the other information which each other to do a networking, which is great. I would suggest we can do it for the next 10 minutes. But once we start this session regarding the tools for Canadian job search, I would advise and request do not start sharing information after that, because that's when we will want to get questions related to the sessions, and all of you have joined us for those kind of questions. So please feel free to do the communication and networking during this 10 minutes break, or take a break for a coffee or anything you want to do, and then we'll come back in the next 10 minutes. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everyone. I think we had a lot of time to network with each other. Now, there is a next session coming up, which is Tools for Canadian Job Search, which will be presented by Laurel and Lisa here. Again, as I mentioned before going to the break, now is the time to ask questions related to this session. Please do not share any chats regarding your programs or WhatsApp groups or any personal information. Anyone doing so, we might unfortunately have to remove you from the session. So please do not share any personal information at this point of time. Again, we will have another break coming up after these sessions. During that time, utilize that break to discuss and network with each other. So over to you, Laura and Lisa.
Great. Thank you so much for having us here this morning. Just to confirm, am I sharing the presentation or are you sharing it?
You can.
Okay, perfect. I will get that all set up. So I'll get that set up, Lisa, if you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll start. I think Lisa's having some audio issues. So I'll go ahead and get started so we're not leaving you while she gets that figured out. So my name is Laurel Teal. I am a co-op consultant here at the college. I support programs in the business school, including accounting, insurance, finance, and general business. So thanks for having us. We're so happy to see you here. And today we're going to be talking about building a Canadian resume, which will be an essential tool for you to have ready and to start developing now as you prepare for part-time work, if you're in a co-op program, co-op work, postgraduate work. So it's a tool that you will need for a long time. So it's a really great workshop that we're going to go through to give you everything, the information you need, the tools you need to create a resume that's going to make you stand out amongst the competition as you start your job search. I will go ahead and share, and we will get started. Oh, sorry. Oh, I think you probably see the wrong screen. Sorry, everybody. Okay. So we are from Employment and Student Entrepreneurial Services, as you likely heard in the introduction. And I know you chatted with Ashley and Larissa this morning also about Inspire Mentoring, which is excellent. You've probably seen these slides, and in case you weren't here, we are career services, co-op education, community employment, and Leap Junction, which is an entrepreneurial service here at the college. As a student at Fanshawe, I'm sure Darlene mentioned, you have access to your own career consultant as well as a co-op consultant if you're in a co-op program. And what we do as a team is we help you become job ready through offering webinar workshops, one-to-one appointments. Right now, those are all via Zoom or over the phone, virtual drop-in days, different events. We have an official job board specifically for Fanshawe students, and we have lots of things that we post on FOL about, different resources that you can use, different events happening in the community, and opportunities to engage with employers. So really, I do encourage you to connect with us in some way during your time at the college, whether you're following us on social media, you have a careers page on FOL, coming to see us virtually, or one day when we're back in the college, coming to see us. So we are here for you throughout your entire journey at Fanshawe College. So before we start to talk about how to actually make a resume, there's a couple of things that I just wanted to touch on before that, and that's your core values, because I think it's really important to have a sense of what these are for you so that you can then look for opportunities that are going to help you develop some of these values. Because once you're done, your set of core values is going to be very important in how you can align yourself with another company to demonstrate how you are an excellent fit for an organization what they're trying to achieve in their business, the values that they have. So having a good sense of that now and working on some of those values and developing them, like demonstrating them as skills also will be really important moving forward. There's so many opportunities to develop your skills while you are at Fanshawe, not just through work, but through volunteer experiences, through different workshops and seminar series, LinkedIn Learning, just engagement with your classes, the group work that you might do. So I just encourage you to kind of think about what your values are, reflect on what's important to you. And the way you might do that is, think about what kind of workplace you want to work in. Do you want to be able to work more independently versus more with a team? If you want to be able to work collaboratively with others, and you've never done that before, how do you improve your teamwork skills? Think about things like that. Think about what motivates you. Is it the desire to create an amazing software application? Is it the desire to work with people? And if you don't have a lot of experiences with that kind of thing, how can you start to develop that experience while you're at school? Okay. So basically, your core values are a set of fundamental beliefs, ideals, or practices that inform you of how to conduct your life, both personally and professionally. So, as you are moving forward and thinking about these, you're going to be using these core values. You want to align them with the companies when you're searching for jobs. You want to be able to talk about them in an interview and show an employer how you have, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen here, how you have demonstrated these or developed these values throughout your experiences. So, especially in interviews, you might be asked questions like, what motivates you? What kind of employee are you? Why did you choose to apply here? And all of those types of questions are an opportunity for you to demonstrate your values and how it possibly aligns with the company and their values. Just going to pause for a second, see if Lisa's been able to access her mic. I don't know.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there we are.
Good.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so thanks, Laurel. And my name is Lisa Holman, and I'm also a co-op consultant. Alongside Laurel, I support the business marketing co-op program, as well as the 4 Bachelor of Commerce business degrees. So if you're in any of those programs, then you will get to know me. But otherwise, we're excited to be here today and sharing more about how to make a Canadian resume. And this is something that we really dive into in our co-op prep courses, but definitely something that's valuable whether you're in co-op or not. So I think, Laurel, thank you. Okay, so what is a resume used for? So really, you want to think about your resume as your marketing document and how you're going to advertise yourself to the company that you're applying for. Really, it's the first impression that they're going to have of you in most cases when you're applying for a job. If you are putting in a formal application, this is always going to be a requirement. Or if you're, regardless of how you're wanting to get your name out there, this is definitely the most important piece of information you're going to want to have to send to employers. It shows how you're qualified, how you are qualified, and we're going to get into more of all the specific details of your resume and an overview of each of the sections. So here's, you can see in this picture, this is what we call the chronological format of your resume. So this offers a historical timeline of your work experience and your education. So it's going to have descriptions of what you did and how you did it to group together for each position that you've worked in and each diploma or degree or section of education. Typically, the chronological format is going to lead with a highlight section where you can include your most relevant skills, your strengths, your qualifications, anything that you really want to draw the employer's attention to right away. That's going to be highlighted in that first section. Aside from your contact information at the top, then that highlight is going to always be first, followed by your education and then work experience, and then activities and interests is an optional section. We'll talk more about that in a few slides. So this is the chronological resume is by far the most preferred by employers. This style of resume really allows them to quickly identify and evaluate if you're a good fit for the position. So sections of a chronological resume. So as we saw in that previous image, we have our contact info right at the top. We want to make that really easy for employers to see. And then we have an objective. So an objective line is optional. And then we have our skills. So sometimes we can achieve an objective through our skills summary section. That's really a personal preference. And I always like to say the objective can also really be highlighted in your cover letter as well. So then we have our skills section, that summary of qualifications right at the beginning, followed by our education, our work experience, and then interests and activities is always going to be last, which is optional, as we mentioned before. So here's a really nice example of what we want our contact info to include. So we always, first and foremost, have our name and how the employer is going to get a hold of us. So email and a phone number, for sure. That's mostly the way that an employer is going to get in touch with you. So make sure you're using an email that you check often and a phone number that has a voicemail messaging system set up so that if you miss the call, you're able to get the message and call them back. Including your address on your resume is optional. So again, it's personal preference. It's not needed, but it's not, it's okay if it's there as well. And then if you have a LinkedIn page set up, this is a really good spot to identify that so that a lot of employers like to check that out when they're screening your resume. If you have a website as well, a great spot for that, for them to be able to see that link and look more in depth to your portfolio. What we definitely don't want in the contact section or anywhere on our resume are any personal details. So for example, your age, your SIN number, your race, any photos, marital status, that's absolutely not required or necessary, and nor can an employer ask for that either.
Okay, so we're going to spend quite a bit of time on the highlights of qualifications or summary of skills section because it really is such a critical piece of your resume and should always be at the top right under your contact information. A lot of things we're going to talk about today, you can create a resume that in a style that works for you. These are the sections that we really strongly recommend are included, and maybe in this order. But if you have, like, you can use a font that you like that's easy to read, stylize it in a way that makes it your own. We do have resources outlining how the resume should look. A lot of times people will ask us for like a fill in the blank type of resume document, which we do provide so that you can kind of get your ideas down. But you want it to stand out. You don't want it to look like everybody else's. So if we were to give you just a fill in the blank format or a fillable PDF, it really wouldn't be unique to who you are. So we do have those resources available to you, maybe to help you kind of get started if you've never written a resume before. But I do encourage you to make your resume your own and really reflective of your skills, your experiences, and all of that kind of stuff. So the highlights of qualifications, this is your opportunity to summarize your key skills that are relevant to the job you're applying for. And that's so important, particularly if you have lots of different experiences. You might have, maybe you have an architecture background and now you're studying accounting. Well, that's a very different skill set, right? So you want to be able to highlight the skills that you have that are going to demonstrate how you can do the job it is that you're applying for. Because you only have a limited amount of space on a resume. Typically, we suggest 2 pages maximum. So you may have lots of experience and lots of different skills. So it's really important to narrow it down to what's specific about the job and the skills that are going to demonstrate how you can do that particular job. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Please always, always, always tell the truth on your resume. Don't copy your friends. Don't make something up just because you think that's what the employer wants to see or hear. Make sure it is reflective of your actual skills and abilities. Be practical, again, to only share the skills relevant to the job. Keep them interested. So one word is not enough and a whole paragraph is too long. So we want to keep it to one line. And we're actually going to work on writing these skill statements on the next slide. But, a lot of times we'll read through skills and it'll say organized or time management or communication. Well, what about that? You know what communication is. You can effectively communicate both oral and written. Time management. Oh, okay, well, I can stay on schedule. So then you want to tell them that you have the strong time management skills with the ability to manage multiple tasks and meet deadlines. Okay, so there's a bit of a difference between just saying time management and what you can do with that time management. Okay. You want to include both job-specific and transferable skills. And this is really, really important. And that's kind of why I talked about the core values at the beginning. Of course, each type of job is going to require those technical, industry-specific skills, perhaps with different software applications, the reading of blueprints or the knowledge of building codes, depending on what your program is. But also those transferable or soft skills is what we refer to them as, which is kind of skills that you would need in any job that you might do. So can you communicate professionally? Can you collaborate within a team and contribute your ideas in group discussions? What else? Can you pay close attention to detail when you're inputting data to maintain strong data integrity? Okay, so it's not just about the technical skills that you would need specific to your industry, but also those soft skills that are going to help you work through any kind of task. This particular section of the resume as well is likely going to be changed or modified slightly with each job application. Because you want it to be targeted to the skills and qualifications that the specific employer is asking for, you want to make sure that you are maybe switching some things around or highlighting different skills in different resumes depending on the job. You can't change the past, so you can't change your education, you can't change your experiences, but you can definitely reflect on those and think about the different skills and experiences you've had that can demonstrate how you can do each different kind of job. So a little bit more about articulating your skills. And this is really, again, not using just one word like or two words like customer service or collaboration or whatever skill you might be talking about. We really want to give them a bit more context and a bit more detail without writing really long paragraphs or really long sentences. So I have an example here for you. So if we were going to focus on customer service, which is an essential skill to develop in whatever type of job that you're going to be doing, because customer service isn't just about, standing as a cashier and bringing people through to check out their groceries. Customer service is about interacting with people. Most jobs have some element of that type of interaction. So however you would define that and whatever kind of customer service is required in your job, you might think it's about providing a positive and professional experience to people, ensuring that their needs are met. Okay? What are kind of the actions that you can demonstrate that you have that skill? Maybe you have experience going above and beyond to provide excellent service by asking questions and providing support. Again, that could be being on working at a call center and receiving a call and asking questions to make sure the customer knows that their concerns are being heard. Maybe it's making sure that if you don't know the answer, you find out what it is so that you can relay that information back to that person. Why is that important? What kind of impact does this have? Well, it's going to hopefully confirm that the customer is satisfied with their experience. They may have been upset, maybe calling you at the call center, but the service you provided in that moment leaves them feeling satisfied. It also maybe promotes and represents a positive image for the company. A lot of companies, especially in Canada, have really high standards of customer service because they want to set themselves apart. And so, you want to be able to show that you can meet that standard and really promote the company in a really positive way. So all of this being said, the statement might be on your resume, if you have customer service, is that you are committed to providing professional and valuable service to customers to ensure a positive and professional image for, and then you could put, maybe the name of the company that you are applying to, just so that the employer knows it is tailored to them. You wrote this resume for them. You took the time to see what they were looking for and are trying to highlight the skills you have to meet those requirements. And the next part of your resume is going to be your education. Because you are currently now students, this is the most recent and applicable experience you have to the industry you are trying to jump into after graduation. So we do suggest that you put education under your highlights while you're a student. Perhaps, in 3 years, you've worked a little bit and you've got some good experience there to promote. You can kind of switch that around. But as you are students, we do definitely encourage you to put your education under your highlights of qualifications. So the very first education you should mention is your current program. Even if you're just starting, we want to make sure that that is on your resume. I see this a lot where people will be applying specifically in co-op for a co-op job, but the employer has no idea that they're even in an accounting program because it's not on their resume. So please make sure that your current program is there. And what you're going to do is actually put the name of your diploma that you're pursuing first. So if you are in construction project management, it would say construction project management, May 2021 to present, or you can put the end date if you want. And then underneath is where you'll put Fanshawe College and then London, Ontario. Even if you're learning remotely, Fanshawe is still an institution within London, so that's why you could put London, Ontario. And then as you start learning things in your classes, you're getting a really good understanding of some of those key concepts and maybe some terminology or skills associated with the industry. you can kind of put that down underneath here, okay, to really show like what you're learning in school, you can take and apply it to the workplace.
So the next section, so after your education, is going to come your work experience. So when we're looking at work experience, the first thing we notice here is that our formatting is set up exactly the same way as our education was. So we really want that flow of our resume and making it easy for the employer to read and identify quickly the most important parts about your experience. So you see here, we have it set up. We want our position title first. So we always want to make it really clear to the employer what it is we are doing at the job. So that we want first, along with so if you're working at Tim Hortons, we want to make sure we have customer service rep or bakery, whatever you're doing there. We want to clarify that first. And then we always have our specific month and year that we started. So we want to know not that you started just that job in 2020, but that you started that job in January 2020. Identifying the month can make a big difference in the timeline when the employer's trying to figure out how much experience you have or how long you've been in a particular job for. And then next we identify our organization name and the location. So that means the city and the province. So if it was Tim Hortons, London, Ontario, that gives the employer a clear picture of what you're doing in the job and exactly where you were working. And then underneath we have our bullet points of what you examples of specific examples, results and or accomplishments that you achieved in that position. So when you're thinking about your work experience, you want to consider anything, whether it was paid or not paid, Canadian experience or international experience. We want to get any experience onto your resume. And within each section, so each job is going to be broken out in its own section so that the employer can see exactly what you did, where you did it, how long you did it, and then what you did in the job. And then if you are in, I just always like to mention, if you are in a co-op program, make sure that that's identified on your resume. I see a lot of students that will put their program, but they don't actually mention that it's a co-op program. So that's good for employers to know.
Can I just jump in and make one quick comment? A lot of times when we're talking with students, they'll say, well, I don't have any experience, but I help my parents run their store that they own or their business that they own. And that is definitely legitimate experience that you want to include on your resume. It doesn't matter who your supervisor was, if it was your parent or a relative, the experience you got doing that and providing that assistance. So if you were, I don't know, like managing their accounts or something like that, that's still really important to include. Don't worry if it was a family business, because what the job you are actually doing is what we want to highlight under the experience section, not necessarily who it was you were working for. Okay.
Yeah, good point. And just like our education, we always want to have our most, if you're currently in a job, we want to identify that first, your most current work experience, and then moving backwards to the past. So as you're developing your bullet points, so your skills summary, you're thinking through, and then what you want to talk about, what you did in your jobs, we want to focus on action verbs. So these really help employers understand exactly what you did. So taking a screenshot of this is great if you're just in the process of starting your resume, you're thinking through, you're brainstorming what you want to put on it. Starting those statements with these words really helps you, will help you articulate better what it is that that you've accomplished or are accomplishing in your current education, or if you're currently working part-time. And so the last section is the activities and interests. And we talked about this being optional. So really, if you have enough, if your resume is full, you have some work experience to add in there, then this section doesn't have to be there. If you have no work experience and you're feeling like you need to fill up some space on your resume to make it fill it in, make it flow a little better, then definitely this is a great section to add in there. So we want to include industry related hobbies or activities, interests or community involvement. Maybe you're volunteering with a club or a organization in the community. Any volunteering experience can really make you stand out. So make sure we want to include that on our resume. That's great to be showing that you're multi-dimensional. It will help bring out your personality and your potential to fit with the company. It allows employers just to get to know you a little bit better. But like we said, just keeping it industry related. Don't list irrelevant interests and hobbies. We want to keep it very professional. Any awards or achievements, again, just anything that makes you stand out, that you're proud of, and that you show that you're committed to your field of study and your community.
This would be another area where I would consider adding in things like if you have ever been involved in different sports or different types of teams, because it shows a really, it shows commitment to something. So like if you're on a sports team, you have to commit to practices. You have to work really well with your teammates to be successful. So there's a lot to be said for people who do participate in group or team sports. So you could include that here, as well as things like student council or different groups that you may have participated in at school, or special projects that you did where you had to work with others and things like that. So think about that as well, because it really does highlight some of those transferable skills that we were kind of talking about at the beginning.
Another thing you could think of in this section is even just including a session like today, that you took the time out of your schedule to attend this Fanshawe Works session. It shows that you're committed to your personal development and learning. So even these events that you're attending through Fanshawe could be identified and highlighted in that area.
Definitely. So with the visual presentation, I kind of mentioned at the beginning, like you want to make this your own. We definitely recommend the sections, so the highlights, the qualifications, your education, your experience, any kind of professional development or activities or interests. They should all be present on your resume. Skills, or that highlight section, should be at the top and after your name, the first thing the employer reads. So you want to make sure that it is a maximum of 2 pages and that the most important content is on the first page. So what is most important is what is most relevant to the position that you are applying to. You want to make sure you're using bullet points and not paragraphs. So a lot of times you'll see like long sentences about perhaps the company that you have worked for, but not necessarily what you were doing in the role. So you want to be very precise and descriptive at the same time. So this takes practice, and this is why you have people like your career and co-op consultants to help you work through this. But you want to make sure you're using very descriptive but concise bullet points. So that's where those action verbs come in really handy, and not just writing really long sentences. And the reason why this is important is because it makes it a lot easier for an employer to read. Because the reality is that they may have, 50, 100, 200 resumes to kind of go through. If they have to take a lot of extra time to read through a paragraph, it's likely they're going to move on to the next one. So what you want to do when you're thinking about your visual presentation of your resume, you want to look at it and think, is this easy for somebody else to read? Are they going to see right away what I am capable of doing? So that they don't have to kind of search for information and guess and wonder if they should be calling you or contacting you for an interview. You want to make sure you're using consistent formats. So please just choose one font. And then, consider making your headings a certain size, perhaps 14, and the content underneath. So your bullet points may be in a 12, something like that, but don't have all kinds of different formats and different sizes. Just make sure it's consistent. Triple check for technical errors, and avoid wrong terminology and repetition. So try and add some variety. And that's again why that list of action verbs can be really helpful. And be careful with the English language and using wrong terminology. It's a very complicated language, as I'm sure you know, but we have a lot of words that mean the same thing, but could be spelled differently, or, it's a word that is not a spelling mistake, but it's not used in the right context. So just make sure you're triple checking for that. Again, you can always send your resume to us in our department, have somebody else look at it, but just make sure that you don't use the wrong terminology, and make sure your bullets line up. If you have your dates in one section for each resume, make sure they're in the same spot for the next section, just to make sure it flows nicely, it's easy to skim through and read, and easy to identify the information that the employer is looking for. This is the first impression of you. You may have submitted your application online, and if your resume doesn't stand out to them, then it's probably going to get looked over. So make sure this is a really positive impression that you can kind of leave with the employer to make them want to pick up the phone and call you and invite you in for an interview. So we want to talk a little bit about fraudulent job postings today, because it's really important. Unfortunately, it seems to have picked up a little bit since COVID, because a lot of people are just applying online and the jobs are posted online, because a lot of people don't want the extra walk-ins to drop off applications. So we want you to be really, really, really aware of this, and right away know that if you aren't ever sure about something with a job and you want to make sure it's legitimate, you can always contact us and we'll help you look through it to make sure it's not something that's going to set you up to be, have your bank account compromised or your personal information compromised. So a couple of warning signs here to look out for, especially if you have your email or your resume uploaded on Indeed or something like that. If the offer is too good to be true, so perhaps you just get an email one day and say, oh, we saw your resume and we want to offer you a job of working from home, and we're going to give you a startup allowance of $500, and we're going to pay you $25 an hour to enter data. It's likely not a legitimate opportunity. So, you want to make sure that if you didn't apply for the job, that you check out to make sure it is a valid offer, because sometimes you can get what we call headhunted here. So you might be contacted by a recruiter, but it's not necessarily just to offer you the job. It might be to invite you in to talk about an opportunity. Okay. So yeah, again, if the pay is too good to be true, so minimum wage here in Ontario right now is $14.25. Most entry level positions are anywhere between that and like $17, $18. So if you're being offered, $25, $30 for a role that is typically 15, again, probably too good to be true. If the emails are unprofessional, so if you notice that they're not coming from the companies, so all of our emails at the college are lteal@fanshawe.ca. So if I were to contact you and say, hey, I work for Fanshawe and I want you to come in and because I have a job for you, and I'm emailing you from Laurel at hotmail.com, that's probably a red flag. So make sure that you're paying attention to just those little clues because it can give it away right away. Okay. If their emails don't have a professional signature at the bottom with like a phone number and a contact, that could be another red flag. Again, if you get the job right away, so they're just outright offering you a position as opposed to inviting you for an interview first, because that's typically the process here. You submit an application, they want to talk to you more about your skills, and then they come up with a job offer if you're the right person. It's not just saying, here's a job for you, come work for us. What else do we have here? So sometimes people are really good at this, okay? So sometimes it can be harder to see right away. So do a little bit of a fact check. So perhaps you are going to look up the person who's emailing you on LinkedIn and see if everything matches. Check out the company's website. Is it a secure, legitimate website? Sometimes it definitely takes a little more digging because they're getting more and more sophisticated and skilled at creating fraudulent jobs. So again, with all of this being said, if your gut is saying, or if you just have this feeling that it's just something is not right, please just come talk to us in Career Co-op. We are happy to help look through this, because then if we do find out it's fraudulent, we do report it. So it's really important that if you have just this feeling that something's not right, that you come and talk to us about that. One more thing I didn't see here. So not getting paid for training or orientation. Every single job that you are hired for, you are paid during your training and orientation. So for an employer to say, oh, well, we'll train you unpaid, and then, well, if it's a good fit, we'll bring you on and start paying you. That's not okay. That's not legal. So please make sure that when you are offered a part-time job while you're studying, or even afterwards, that you are being paid for your training and your orientation, okay?
Okay, so if we are following all of these great tips to create a resume, a good resume for yourself, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to get interviews. So that's our ultimate goal with our resume, is to get you interviews, get yourself in front of the employer, whether that be in person or virtually. So knowing your rights is important. Once you get to the step of an interview, there are certain questions that are actually illegal for employers to ask in interviews, or ask you. Another form of an interview could be them calling you up, what they may call a pre-screen. So just wanting to ask you some questions before they actually bring you in for an interview. Whatever the case is, these are all illegal questions to ask that they would ask you. So race, your place of origin, religion, anything about your age, if you have a disability, sexual orientation, your marital status, or anything about your financial situation is definitely not appropriate, and it is illegal for them to be asking you. So if that were to happen in an interview, then definitely you have every right to just end the meeting. And then we would encourage you to get in touch with us. So then again, just like the scam postings, we would definitely want to follow up on anything that happened in this area as well. As Laurel mentioned previously, the minimum wage in Ontario is $14.25 an hour. So if an employer was trying to offer you less than that, that would be a red flag. They have to, by law, pay you at least $14.25 an hour. And also the on-the-job training or orientation hours are required you're required to be paid for those. And with everything happening with COVID, there are cases that training could be done virtually. And even if that's the case, then you still need to be paid for that.
Great. So those are our kind of our thoughts on resumes and preparing for work. We want to make sure we have time for questions. So if you want to know more about any of this, I do encourage you to check out the different webinars that we offer. These are the topics that we provide regularly to you. So we mentioned LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn page, check out the LinkedIn workshop. It's really great, really good starting point. Book an appointment with your career co-op consultant. We have different drop-in days for you. Everything is on the events calendar on the Fanshawe job site. So if you need any help with that, you can contact someone in our office and we'll help you out there. So we do want to leave time for questions. If you have any, I don't know if we have a chat moderator or how this part works.
Yes, everyone should be able to ask questions now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a quick note here on cover letters. Just before we allow you to ask questions. So cover letters are typically part of the job application process. A cover letter is something that you write on top of your resume, where you're not necessarily copying everything that's on your resume, but maybe you want to highlight a couple of specific experiences that demonstrate some of the skills that are most important to the job. Typically, the cover letter starts with how you heard about the position and why you're a good fit, and then kind of demonstrating through your education and experience why you're capable of doing the job. This is something that's really hard to write generically. So if you like just to think of things, so it's always really good to find a couple of postings. Yeah, I think I want to try practicing a cover letter because I really want to, apply for this specific job. It's never more than a page. You can kind of highlight some of those extracurriculars that maybe you could do that show why you're a really good fit. But I do encourage you. I like to kind of, everybody's got their different styles, but to work on one together to get started so that you have the tools you need to move forward. So I encourage you to book an appointment with a consultant to go through cover letters. We do have a resource, and I will pop it in the chat just in a second here with a little more information on cover letters as well.
There's a question about mentoring. Laurel, if you want to mention Inspire mentoring, I'm going to post the email address to contact Inspire in the chat box.
Sure. What's the specific question? Sorry.
Just about mentoring.
Yeah, so you probably met Ashley and Larissa in the previous session. So they take care of the mentorship program. There's opportunities to get involved with your peers, especially in your first year. You can be matched with a peer to kind of help, figure out Fanshawe and their program and tips for studying online and job searching. And then there's other opportunities to get engaged in more industry-focused mentorship in your kind of final year of study. Okay, sorry, there's a lot in the chat, so I'm just going to try and go back as far as I can. If we don't get to your question, you do have the list, and I think we should probably pop in contact information for specific consultants here as well. So I did mention that we can look over your cover letters and resumes, and you have a specific career consultant dedicated to your school and your program. So what we'll do is we'll put the contact information link in the chat, so that if you think, oh, I'm in general business and I'm looking for a part-time job, you'll know that you need to contact Christina Rapson, and she can set up an appointment with you to give you some tips on your resume and work through that with her. So you have a specific person that you can contact. So I will just make sure, maybe Lisa, you could pop that contact information in the chat as well when you're doing the links for Inspire.
There's been quite a few SIN questions, so I'm just made a comment to please contact the international office for any SIN or work permit questions that you might have.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to add about the SIN number. We have a SIN workshop happening on this Thursday. All of you must have received an email yesterday regarding international welcome and SIN workshop. So any questions related to that, feel free to attend the workshop on Thursday, and you will be able to understand how it works, how you can apply, if it's even possible to apply online or not, and how everything in between.
Awesome. So I just see a comment here, and I think it's good to address because I feel like it's not just one person, about not having a lot of experience. So how do you start building your resume? And we did mention that volunteering is a great way. There's a lot of places of employment too that they don't mind if you don't have a lot of experience. So there are definitely volunteer websites if you're in locally and in Ontario or London, like Pillar, or just type, Googling volunteer opportunities in London, Ontario, where you can kind of find out some information there. But if, what I recommend, and particularly if you're just looking for a part-time job, to get some experience, to get some Canadian experience, and learning what the workplace is like, just being open. So, I'm thinking of places like McDonald's who are always happy to hire people who don't have any experience, and then they train you the way that they like you to work with for their organization. So just being open to different opportunities that are going to help you build your resume will be really helpful in the future. So if you aren't in Canada yet and you don't have a local phone number, if you're going to be applying for jobs in Canada because you're coming here soon, I would include your current number and your email, and then in your cover letter making a note that you're applying for jobs, the dates that you're kind of scheduled to arrive and when you would be available to start work, and that the best way for them to contact you would be whether you can identify whether that's an email address or if you have a WhatsApp number or anything like that. So you can be a little more clear about that in your cover letter if you don't have a Canadian phone number yet. Just taking a look.
You haven't answered the question about volunteer work, have you?
I just mentioned Pillar and Googling like volunteer opportunities. Do you have more thoughts on that?
Okay, just someone's asking, can you provide an example of how to put volunteer work on a resume? So we put that on our resume exactly in the same format we put any work experience. We just make sure it's highlighted that it's volunteer, that it's a volunteer opportunity or experience. And if you have a lot of volunteer experience, you could actually have a bold header that says volunteer experience underneath your work experience.
Yeah. So I did mention workshops and webinars that you can sign up for. So the job site is where you would find that. And while we're chatting, I'm going to pull that up so you can see what it looks like. But I did just see another comment there about, do we only include details in Canada? So no, if you have previous education in your home country, like a previous degree or diploma, please include that on your resume. If you have previous work experience in your home countries, please include that on your resume. It's not just about what you've done in Canada, because you can develop skills wherever you are in the world. So don't leave it off. And if you're not sure about something, contact your career consultant or co-op consultant if you're in a co-op program, and we can kind of talk about how to put something on there if you're not sure, or anything like that. So it doesn't matter where you have done your schooling or where you developed some work experience, put it on your resume. Okay. I'm just going to pull up the job site, Lisa, really quickly so they can see where to ask.
Laurel's going to demonstrate the job site, and this is actually where someone's asking where they can find volunteer opportunities. We have a volunteer tab with all those postings.
Yeah, so I'll just do a quick demonstration here. So you can access the job site through Fanshawe Online. So when you are on the main page of Fanshawe Online, under this resources tab here, you have the Career Co-op CCR. You want to click on this link, and it's going to take you to our website, so the Fanshawe job site. On here is where you can find a job board. So you'll see under career, you have job postings, events, a job search toolkit, which is really great. There's all kinds of resources in here for you. But on this events page, this is where you'll see the different webinars that we host, community events that are related to employment or networking or anything that's available to kind of help you start building your professional portfolio, we would post on here. So if you're interested in mentorship, these peer chats are really great to attend. You can meet other Fanshawe students and kind of get some tips from them. This is must be met. Here's another event using LinkedIn for career development. So these would be where you'll see any events posted, the career workshops, all of this kind of stuff is here for you by going through Fanshawe Online, the resources tab, and then clicking on the Career Co-op CCR. Anything else I can't really. Okay, so I just see here, can you please explain the difference between a resume and a CV? Lisa, do you have thoughts on that? You've probably seen both more.
Could you please explain us the difference between resume
and a CV? So a CV is typically used more for academics. So if you're applying to a master's program or a PhD or doctorate program, it's really more of a highlight of your educational experiences, specific projects that you've done. Whereas the resume is more of a demonstration of the combination of your education and work experiences. I would think that is the most significant difference between the two.
Yeah.
Okay. If we didn't get to your question, I'm just going to go ahead, and I know like I said, you have specific contacts. Even if you're like, hey, Laurel, I was in the resume workshop this morning and you mentioned this, and if I can connect you with your career consultant or whatever it might be, I did just throw my email in there if you need a resource or something like that. But I will be encouraging you to connect directly with your specific support person, but I would provide you with that information in an email.
We popped your career consultant listing in the chat so you can see who your career consultant is for your program.
Great. All right, I think, are we done at 10, Frank?
11, yes.
11.
Okay. Oh, sorry, 11. Wow, that hour. Sorry.
Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. And feel free to reach out to Laurel or I if you have a question that didn't get answered, and definitely take advantage of your co-op or your career consultant and setting up a meeting with them as well.
Yeah, and I just see a quick note from Darlene that you should have all received a letter from her welcoming you to the college and telling you who your career and co-op consultants are. I know emails can get overloaded sometimes, so maybe go back through and see if you've got something from Darlene. So all that important information will be in there, or just send us a quick email too. But thanks for coming, and really looking forward to meeting some of you during your time at the college, and reach out to us anytime.
All right. Thank you, Laurel and Lisa, for such a wonderful session. I see a lot of comment, a lot of students saying thanks for attending. Thanks for doing the session. I would say thank you to all of you for attending. 322 of you attending from different parts of the world. There might be night, there might be afternoon, there might be evening, wherever you are attending from. So we really appreciate this. And I just wanted to say now the next session is going to be important one again, as all of the sessions are important, but this one is alumni sessions where graduates from Fanshawe College are going to discuss how their experience was at the college during the study and after the study, how they got the job. And one of them also has their own business running up, so they will also discuss how they started their own business and stuff. So I would again advise to attend this session and mention that it is a little bit different. It is not going to be on a Zoom meeting. It is going to be a Zoom webinar. So unfortunately, just for now, I'm going to stop the chat and send the link here so everyone can see the final link that comes in the chat, which is for the webinar. And you may also have received an email this morning with this link. So we will go out from this meeting and join in the Zoom webinar following the link that I've posted in the chat, which will start in next 8 minutes, and it's for alumni session. Again, thanks for joining us. That will be the final session that we'll have, where you will get a chance to speak with graduates of Fanshawe and also hear their stories. And many of them, not many, all of them are international graduates, and they've come from different part of the world, just like you, when you will be coming here, or if you're already here, how you're going to study, and also after that, fulfill your hopes and dreams. So see you there. Again, I'm going to paste the link here once more time in the chat. If you do not receive it by any chance, open your email that you might have received this morning and join the link for 11:10 to 12:10, which is for alumni session. Once again, thanks, and see you on the other side on Zoom webinar. Thank you.